Welcome back to the Humble Market Timer YouTube channel. Once again, if you enjoy the content, please like, comment, and subscribe. Today's video will be on Tesla. Now, I chose Tesla for a particular reason, but in this video, I want to give you some price targets that I think we can look for the stock to potentially hit. And then I'm also going to give you some understanding or some reason why I think Tesla is uniquely positioned to truly benefit from these tariffs that Trump has recently implemented. Let me give you my disclaimer really quick. Once again, not investment advice, just my personal thoughts. Now, just to kind of give you an overview, I'm sure many of you are familiar with Tesla. Tesla is known for being a electric vehicle car manufacturer right here in the United States, and the CEO is none other than Elon Musk. As you can kind of see by the chart here that I have of Tesla, it's the weekly chart. You can see that the action has been pretty choppy, and it's recently made a pretty parabolic move in the last say 4 to 5 months leading up to the election and right after the election, but it has made a tremendous dip and drop in the last 2 months, 2 to 3 months, really, after the push from the election, where Elon and sort of became buddy with Trump, and they kind of worked hand in hand during the election. And he has continued to work with Trump as a part of a newly created position that Trump developed for him, where he would try to eliminate waste in the government. But just looking at Tesla individually, like I said, the action has been choppy, but recently there has been a drop in some of the car sales from Tesla, and that part of what has caused the recent drop, to go along with all the talk with the tariffs. And even though Tesla is a little bit different from most people in that they are an American company that manufactures cars in the United States, and they may or may not be as affected by these tariffs. When you have something as large as a policy change that affects so many different things, even if you're not directly related to it, you're still going to be drawn in, and you're going to get pulled down like the rest of the market. And that has been a lot of the reason to go along with the slowdown in EV sales, and why there's been such a major drop in the stock in the last 2 to 3 months. Now, I drew some parallels here, and I drew quite a few. I drew 3 different parallels, and then I have one obvious uptrend line that I saw. And I drew these parallels partially for myself to be able to kind of see how the stock is moving, whether it's moving down when it's in a descending price position, or when the price is going up. And the parallels help me see the range in which the stock is trading. And then I also did this middle parallel, because what the middle parallel does, it kind of gives you a range in which the stock has traded. Now, of course, there are some outliers in this range, such as right here, and also in this parabolic move here. But what it is telling me is that for the most part, over the last 4 to 5 years, the stock has pretty much traded within this range. And it kind of gives you an understanding, and it helps you eliminate the noise of what the stock is really doing. But you can see how it, in this downtrend, how it trended pretty calmly within this parallel, aside from this one blip outside the parallel. And then in this move up out of the downtrend, you can see how it stayed within the parallel. And we have recently broken out of this uptrend parallel, which could signal a downtrend starting to begin. But the main thing I wanted to show is this main uptrend line that I targeted right here, that I drew out, where it hit the bottom here back in 2020. It hit again in January of 2023. It then hit again in that April of 2024. So it has nailed the bottoms each point of the price action of Tesla. And so what this trend line, what this main trend line is telling me, is that we're likely on this drawdown to come and at minimum retest this uptrend line. And right now, according to where I have this arrow, that is at approximately $170 to $175. So that is another 20% from where we currently are. We're currently in that 220 range. So I do believe Tesla still has quite a bit to fall in, and I'm pretty certain that it's trending to hit this uptrend line it has consistently hit when the stock typically bottoms. Now, if the stock goes lower, another potential area would be at where the second arrow is. And the second arrow is the bottom parallel, connects to the bottom parallel of where the range that Tesla has traded in for the most part in the last 4 to 5 years. Tesla has basically ranged from this 150 area at the bottom to about this 300 area at the top. So it's again, there have been some outliers where it has peaked above that 300 area and below that 150 area, but for the most part, it has traded in that range. So it is possible that the price action could dip below this trend line and possibly go down to this 150 area, which it has hit on multiple occasions. Here, and even here, it acted as resistance in one of the initial moves that Tesla made out of this initial area of consolidation. And then the last area would be where it hit the very bottom of this last main dip at the end or beginning of 2023, end of 2022, and that would be at 100. So your price levels that I can see that the price hitting the highest probability would be this 175, and then the next area would be 150, and if things got bad, really bad, possibly down to the 100 area. Now, I also want to point out how this chart has mirrored an M pattern. And let me draw it out just in case you can't see it that well. You have this move up here, and then it's come down here, and then it's going back up here, and now it's starting this last portion of the M. And sometimes the M pattern goes like this, and then sometimes the M pattern works its way all the way down here. So we're not exactly sure how the M pattern will finish, but in a situation where we complete the M pattern, where again it comes down to where similar area to where it began, where Tesla is in serious trouble. and there's some really some major things going wrong with the company. But I think if things kind of move as they have been going, even though the Tesla car sales have dropped a bit, Tesla is still the most profitable American car manufacturer. They still make a lot of money every quarter, despite them not necessarily hitting their goals with deliveries and manufacturing production of their EVs. So it's still a profitable company, and they still generate a lot of money. But it would mean if this full M pattern is completed, it would mean there's something drastically wrong with the company. So let me remove some of these lines here. Okay, so I also want to point out one more thing. Looking at the RSI, you can see that, again, this is the weekly chart of Tesla, and the RSI is a relative strength index. You can see we're approaching the lower portion of the RSI. We're currently at about 34, and I've mentioned this in many videos that typically you get a bounce, or you get a reversal in the price action from a downtrend when you hit below this 30 area on the RSI on the weekly. It's been a reversal point in other spots, such as right here. It reversed also here. It didn't quite go all the way down to 30, but it was close to hit 30, it was close to hitting 30. And you see that we're approaching that zone again. So you can see that we're getting close to a point where you can expect a bounce, but we're also in a sort of a pretty different economic environment where you may have a deeper drop in the RSI because we have such a negative macroeconomic event taking place with these tariffs. But it's something that you can keep an eye out on when you're trying to figure out where the bottom of the stock will hit. So you can keep an eye on this RSI, as well as the price points that I pointed out, again, at 175, 150, and 100. But I think you will find that at that 175, 170 area, there will be a lot of money that will come in to try to support that price, because we have hit that area on the trend line so many times. Last thing I wanted to point out as far as the chart is in this recent up thrust where Tesla really had a parabolic move heading into the election because of the close-knit relationship that Donald Trump has with Elon Musk. He donated a lot of money to his campaign, and he made him a part of he made him an unofficial government official. But the price has spiked. I want you, again, I talk about symmetry a lot. Look at the symmetry in the move up that we made, and look how it has made an almost identical move on the way down. And that move started here in that 150 area, but also that was also one of the hits on this bottom uptrend line that we could also hit very similarly as it completes this symmetry on the move down. Again, oftentimes the move up looks very similar to the move down. Now, last thing I wanted to point out is how Tesla is uniquely positioned to benefit from these tariffs. And again, ironically, it has nothing to do with the EVs. Tesla, of course, is known for their car manufacturing business. They're also involved in energy and energy storage with their solar company, but they also have a robotics company. And the reason why I say that Tesla is uniquely positioned is because part of the reason why Trump has initiated these tariffs is so to force companies to move their manufacturing facilities away from overseas areas like China and Taiwan and Mexico, and move their manufacturing facilities back to the US. Now, this, in my opinion, is sort of easier said than done, because a lot of the reason why manufacturing was moved overseas was because it's cheaper, and that a lot of the people overseas are more willing to do some of the tasks that a lot of modern day and people in the US are typically not as prone to want to do anymore. So those menial tasks, like things that are involved in making t-shirts or what have you, those things, it sounds like a good idea to be able to move those manufacturing facilities back to the US and have workers actually do those menial tasks. But it's going to be very difficult, in my opinion, to find workers, or lots of workers, who are going to be willing to do those tasks, because of just the mindset that Americans have and how we have progressed mentally, and how we've kind of rely more on technology than we do on doing things with our hands. So in my opinion, I believe Tesla is uniquely positioned because they produce these robots. And here's sort of a video of those robots. And you can see how they are created, and they have been created and designed to do a lot of the repetitious and menial tasks. And I can see how once those manufacturing facilities get moved back to the US, how Tesla will be a huge winner with that, because there will be lots of companies potentially ordering these robots to do some of those menial tasks that it will be more difficult to get American citizens to do. So I think once things kind of settle down, and if Trump is able to get his way, and a lot of those manufacturing facilities are then brought back to the US, Tesla could be a hot item to be a company to invest in, because they provide some robots that could do a lot of the tasks that, again, is being done overseas, that is now going to potentially be done in the States. So keep a lookout for that. It's sort of an interesting thing that that is not talked about as much with Tesla, because a lot of the emphasis is put on their automotive business, but they have their hands in other things, and I think their robot business will be the next area of their business that will cause the price to really appreciate, and it won't be as much from the EVs, even though that will always be a mainstay of their company. Hope you liked the video. Again, please like, comment, or subscribe, and I'll catch you with the next video. Have a good day.